Hi there, I'm Carrie Ellis, author of 21st Century Superhuman. This is our 21st Century Superhuman show, and today I have with me a wonderful couple, Lynn and Paul Schmaltz. Hi Lynn, how are you today? And Paul?
Hi Kerry.
We're good, thank you.
It's so great to be talking to you across the distances, and we're far away from each other, but we're communicating so well, and it's so great to see your beautiful faces. I can see even a plasma field around the edges of your room. And today we're going to talk about the work that you've done with the Keshe plasma technology. And we'd like to say, first of all, that you are students of the technology, as I am. You are not part of the Keshe Foundation or connected with them. And Paul, you're a veterinarian and an acupuncturist and very, very well educated and practiced over many years. And I love the knowledge that you share. You guys have built a website that has so much educational material at it. I think it's just amazing. I've just dug through it the last week or so and just read and watched videos. So I'll have you tell us what that website is and tell us a little bit more about your background and how you got started doing this. And then we're going to share the beautiful plasma products that you've created that other people can access, which are, I believe, really both an example to others to be able to make their own things and a representative to our world of what we can do with this plasma technology. And I'm just so excited about what you've done. It's so beautiful, and I'm really excited to share this show. So go ahead and tell us the name of your website and then a little bit about how you got started and how you like to wrap your minds around this work.
Okay, our website is plasmaenergysolution.com, and that's singular on solution. Plasmaenergysolution.com. And what we've tried to do, Kerry, is to bring a lot of information to the site. So when people go there, I have blogs that I've written. I'm sharing the testimonials people send us. We have frequently asked questions. We have articles on there. And then we've done a whole series of videos. We did a 2-hour Montana workshop a couple years ago, and that's on there, as well as videos that are anywhere from 3 minutes to 28 minutes. The 28-minute video, I'm telling people how to set up and use their plasma energy station if they decide to get a plasma energy station that we make. And we'll talk about it in a little bit. And then there's short videos. Paul's doing some of them, and some of them are directed towards animals, some towards people, and I'll let Paul take over.
Yeah, and you do even teach people how to make their own GANS if they want to. So you really, and how to treat animals, I love that. So you've given a lot of great information. Yes, Paul, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
There are a lot of videos on YouTube on how to make GANs. And there's probably 3 or 4 different versions. I think they all work. It's just a matter of what's convenient and what kind of results you get. That's what it's all about, is results, you know. And I'm a results-oriented kind of guy, and I know there's a lot of people who will look at this video and say, "Well, that's nonsense. How's that going to work? There's no medicine in there. All that is a dry piece of paper towel and some water in a little vial. And how's that going to work?" And the thing is that it works. I practiced acupuncture on the racetrack, on racehorses. And when I was at Ruidoso Downs, at that time, they had the richest horse race in the world. My client won that race. She ran with a bone chip in her front ankle, and the only medication she had was acupuncture. She had no other drugs. And that year I also won the Derby, the 2 richest horse races in the world at that time. That was in '76. And so, you know, I'm a results-oriented guy, and if you don't get results, racehorse people are not going to have you work on their horses. They want winners. That's what it's all about. And so when people say this is not going to work, I wouldn't be doing it if it didn't work. There's scientific knowledge out there about all of these processes. It's pretty well sequestered. It's hidden. The aerospace industry has a lot of it. I used to have a friend who was a physicist who worked at Sandia Labs, and I was talking to him one night. It was probably 30 years ago. He was telling me that he was working with plasma energy in space travel. It was classified. He said, "That's all I can say. I can't say anything more." But that was 30 years ago. So you know that the information is out there. They're just not giving it to the people. They're not giving it to the medical practitioners. They're not giving it to the veterinarians. It's the reasons for that are probably many different reasons, but they're not doing it. And the information we've gotten from Mr. Keshe has been very helpful for me. I've used it on myself. I was diagnosed with cataracts 2 years ago. Now I have no cataracts. My cataracts are gone.
Wow, that's awesome.
Okay, I had arthritic knees. I could hardly walk. I still have arthritic knees, but I have no pain.
So we'll say you're getting younger.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't look any younger. I know
Well,
that.
but your body is regenerating. It's healing itself. And
Well, I'm so.
you
And
know,
so,
I want you guys' room is filled with plasma. I want people to notice this. There's just this cloud of plasma all the way around the edge of your room, which to me, that shows up in my videos and my images a lot because I think I have a sense for it, and it's beautiful. It tells us that you are creating something there that's really working, that you've surrounded yourself with in your home.
well, we've got some samples here of, this is GANS material here at the bottom, gas and atomic nanosolid state with water on top, and the water is what we use. But you can see as you shake this up, the very fine powder that is the GANS. This is copper. This one is CO2. You see the white material at the bottom.
And CO2 is a little more creamy colored than the zinc, right?
Right. The zinc is a little more gray.
Right.
This one is magnesium.
Wow.
And this one, you can just see a little bit of material in the bottom. This is gold. It was hard to make.
Mm. Did
This
you
one,
use a piece of gold to make it?
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
water?
I used a gold Krugerrand.
Wow. Did you lose some of the Krugerrand?
No, it didn't seem to. It still looked fine when I was through with it.
You know, I have an old gold bracelet from my grandmother I've been thinking of trying to make gold GANS with, but I was worried that I'd lose the bracelet, but no. Hmm?
This one is Korean 9 times baked salt. It's a famous Korean multi-purpose salt. And I add a little of that to just about all my formulations because it has
Wow.
all the minerals in it.
Interesting. So
got
where
all-
did you get the 9 times baked salt?
From Korea.
Amazing. Very cool.
There's a guy named Kang, and he sent it to me. And what do you have to add to that, Lynn?
Well, I think it's really important to add what you've been able to turn around physically. And Paul was, his veterinary career ended when he was diagnosed with kidney failure and just didn't have the stamina at the time to keep up with it. The kidney failure was a result of type 1 diabetes, which was diagnosed at the age of 44. You know, and they used to call it juvenile onset. There was no diabetes history in the family. We have no idea where this all came from, unless a theory we have is it could have been massive vaccines all given at once in the military that set up a weakening condition in organs in his body. But what happened then is he was on hemodialysis for 8 years. And we were trained to do that and did that at home. And then he got a kidney transplant in 2004. And in the last couple years, the kidney transplant was not as robust as it was at the beginning. And you're beginning, a measure of kidney function that a lot of people have heard of is creatinine clearance. And the day after the transplant, it was 1.6, right?
Right.
Okay. It had crept up to 2.2. When you get to 2.5, you're in trouble. You're talking dialysis again. Okay. So what happened is being on the plasma energy station water and just using it, I mean, we cook with it. It's in the tea, the coffee, the soup. I put it in our laundry. I've washed our sheets and towels and clothing with it. I just add station water to the rinse cycle on the laundry and create a little more plasma in our lives. We have some that we can spray on ourselves. This is my station water. I have a little lineup of soldiers at my desk. And so whenever I need, I think I need station water. Well, if, let's say my shoulder's getting tired, I may just reach up here and do something like this, okay? Or let's say my hand's getting tired. What I may do is I may spray some water on it. We've got the energy station. Now you're gonna know I use these, okay? Because this is what they look like. And I've used them for 2 years. What I did is I treated them. And then I took the, cut the fingertips off because I like to touch the keys when I'm typing. So they're pretty homely, but they're pretty effective, okay? And I've treated scarves. So if my neck gets tired when I'm typing or something, I can
So
just
when
put
you
my,
say you've treated those, Lynn, tell us what you mean.
I have added plasma energy station water to them and let it dry. And then they're set. It doesn't wear out. There's no expiration date. And it doesn't, you don't have to keep doing it over and over, okay? You just do it once and it's done. But I kind of diverted from where Paul was at.
Right.
And a couple of months ago on your lab report, go ahead and explain what happened with your temperature, your labs, and your insulin.
Last time I had labs done, well, when I first started dialysis 20 years ago or so, my temperature dropped and I've been cold ever since. And none of the doctors have been able to tell me why. And so when I had my last labs done, they took my temperature and labs and oxygen saturation with the little thing on your finger. And oxygen saturation was 99%. The creatinine clearance was 1.5, which was better than it was immediately after the transplant.
Wow.
And my insulin requirement has dropped from 34 units a day to 18.
And your temperature?
So, and my body temperature was running about 96, and it was up to 97.5. So that's, all of those things are improvements, but they've taken time. I've been on this plasma energy for probably 2 years, something like 2 years, and it takes time, but I'd probably be dead right now if it wasn't for that. And I think it's prolonged my life. I don't know how much it will, but
That's very exciting. Those are clinical, factual results. I mean, as you say, it's anecdotal evidence, but the anecdotal evidence is based on statistics. It's based on you actually being tested and the results of the tests. How long do you think it took you before you started feeling real changes? Do you think months or weeks?
about 6 months. Yeah, like with my cataracts, I started using the eye formulation with olive oil, and it took about 6 months before I noticed a difference. But then when I started noticing a difference, it seemed like it was it progressed faster after that, and the cataracts cleared pretty much within a year. They were gone. And
very interesting. Interesting that it progressed faster once it started improving. And the other
right.
thing I'd like to say is that is a lot of faith in this process, a lot of faith in the plasma technology that you had cultivated in order to start and to just keep going and to be consistent. And I want to ask you what you feel gave you that faith, gave you that confidence, and if it was going, Mr. Keshe has the Knowledge Seekers workshops, over 200 of them at this point, and many of us have listened for the last 3 years religiously every week, every Thursday, and then there's other teachings throughout the week and private teachings to be in. So I'm wondering what gave you the faith and the confidence, because I know when I share some plasma tools with people, they think it's going to be a drug and, oh, I can take this, and if I take it for a few days and I don't feel better, then I quit. And but I want to encourage on this point, because that idea of consistency over the long term, what do you think it was that inspired you to to have that kind of confidence in this technology and to just get into it and to keep going?
Well, it was a thing of attitude. What did I have to lose? I didn't have anything to lose. It's not harmful. You can't overdose on it. And I had the facilities, a place to work, the things to do it with, and why not give it a try? I'd listened to what other people had to say, and other people were very positive about it. And so I just stayed with it, and I started getting results. Now, some things you get results a lot faster, like arthritic knees. I made the knee rings out of vinyl tubing, and you fill them with CO2 GANS water, zinc, and CH3, and I added a little amino acid and some of that B9 Korean salt, and I got results in 2 days on arthritic knees.
So did you add the B9 Korean salt to your GANS making process, or directly to the tool
Directly
that you use?
to the GANS water in the vinyl tube.
Nice, very cool.
You don't need much of it, just probably 3-4 drops.
And so have you guys,
Let me show you a mini version of the knee ring.
okay,
This is for my finger, that when I am typing research, and especially if it's YouTube's, I keep going back and forth from the keyboard to the mouse. And so you can see that my index finger's got a swollen joint. So I can
hold
just,
your hand up just a little, Lynn.
okay,
Thank you, good.
see how those rings go around. And those are a miniature version of what Paul just described on the knee rings.
Nice.
Now I also have this version that I can wear on the same finger. If I don't want to wear the rings, I'll show it on a different, and it's just a patch. There's a thicker side on one side, a thinner, and this one fits under that glove I showed you.
Nice.
On my index finger. So,
Hold
you
it
know,
up just a little. Up.
yeah.
Yeah, good.
Okay. So you can see a little worn, but that's okay. You know, it shows I use it. And I want to say something about the subtleness of this. Paul's had tinnitus, and it was, I don't have it, so I don't know the irritation that goes with it. But I just thought about it the other day, and I asked him, do you still have tinnitus? No, I guess I haven't had it for a couple of years. So we don't dwell a whole lot on what we don't like that isn't working.
Right.
But it's just like, you haven't had it for 2 years and you haven't said anything, but he hadn't even thought about it. It just went away.
Nice.
So
another example is this arm. You can see, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's a dialysis shunt here.
Right.
There's another one right up here. And the circulation in this arm was pretty well shot. And the arthritis was so bad in my fingers, my hand was like a claw. It was like that, and I couldn't close it. It was just like this. Now look at it.
Wow. Very cool.
This finger is still crooked. I've still got a knot of arthritic bone right here in this finger, but I can use this hand.
Nice.
It was unusable 2 years ago.
Nice. Why don't you guys tell us the rest of my question, which was, did you watch the teachings? What did you involve yourself in that let you keep hearing this information and build your confidence? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I watched every week the Knowledge Seekers, and then I was on the medical teachings with Dr. Klaus, and Dr. Rodrigo was on there just about every week, and along with quite a few other people from all over the world. And we discussed a lot of different medical stuff. All of the agricultural stuff, I watched that. And that it seems as though people were having success in all different fields. It's my impression that the slowest field to take off is the space travel with the lift and the moving of the spacecraft. And a lot of that is tied up with intention and the consciousness. And that's obviously going to be a slower process than.
Well, we as humanity are having to, I think what's happened with the spread of the Keshe plasma technology and all this amazing work that Mr. Keshe has put in and the teams around him, and this has, you know, spread worldwide in a matter of what? You know, I think it goes back at least 5 years, but I think the majority of us maybe have been in it 3 years or so since the blueprints of the MAGRAV were released. And this is in literally every country in the world. There is a peace movement that goes along with it, realizing that in order to really spread the plasma technology, we have to have people and governments committed to peace so that we're not hurting each other with this technology. But the blessings of the technology, the capability for it to take us into the next phase of human civilization, and that Mr. Keshe was gifted through his work and his knowledge as a soul, you know, to bring this information through, to share it with so many people around the world. And then that these classes have gone on consistently, week after week after week after week, without a break, in many languages now. This is a pretty profound movement. So what we're having to do is build our confidence in what's kind of like a new science to, you know, what we've been taught in school. And so the understanding of that new science, like you said, you know, maybe the most challenging part is bringing forth the space travel, because that's a whole nother wave of our understanding of our existence here. And yet, like you said, these practical everyday tools for health and well-being, for agriculture, for animals, for people, for transportation, a huge amount of progress has been made. And we can, if we stay involved in the studies, build our belief and our knowledge by seeing consistent results that people are experiencing around the world. And yes, I think you're right. What the results with health, with well-being are pretty profound. And we're seeing those of us who are involved are seeing those all the time, basically.
Well, for me, the thing that gave me the confidence to keep going was the results that I saw on myself.
Nice.
With arthritic knees, relief in 2 days. I mean,
That's amazing.
that's saying something, you know. And when you get success like that, then you want to try something additional, something more, and do more and more and more. And so that's the way we've been doing. We started with small things and like making the paint pens. That was the easiest thing. And then from there, we just had the confidence to keep going and make more and more different things. Lynn's talent is with the computer and public relations, and I do most of the grunt labor.
Well, one of the things too, I was typing notes for Paul from the workshops, and there were so many different foreign accents and everything. I don't speak foreign languages, but I understand English spoken by foreigners. So it was
for you. That is an amazing task to keep up with, and I've heard that from other people that are making really good products, that one member of the partnership is they're taking notes and saying, and because when you listen to the teachings, I'll come out of a teaching and I'll say, wow, listen to what Mr. Keshe actually just said, you know. And if you're doing that and you're paying attention, you really catch a lot of the subtleties.
Well, and one of the things that happened in one of his teachings, because by this point Paul had quite a few jars of GANS, and he said, what would happen if you put some different GANS around a container? And so Paul and I decided, why not? And so we took some of those and put them around a container, which we now call our plasma energy station. And so it evolved from our very beginning container to what is behind Paul here. Can you see the white container with the vials on the side? We have several different versions.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. And all we've done after the vials were put on, and Paul put them on with a hot glue gun and then ran a row of tape around them so we didn't knock them off.
Nice.
And so they were, there we go, I'll take that. So they just are parked there. You never open the vials. The vials are going to give the energy into the water. And there's a lot of discussion now about having, if you're doing the pads, that you have one that's thicker than the other, so you have the giving to the other. And so some of the people that have purchased this have said, well, are all these energies going to run interference? They really don't. I look at it as a big giving, okay? And at any given time, my body is going to use the energies in the water that it needs, and it's going to ignore the rest. So if I need energy 1, 7, 212, and 510, that's all it's going to use. Okay, and I'm just pulling those things out of the air for an example.
Right.
And so then my question became, what would happen in a disaster if you had no food delivery, you have no medicine delivery, you know, everything's falling apart? And we saw that last year with Puerto Rico and with Dominica. And now we have preparedness warnings. President Trump has called September Preparedness Month. And I have some links to a video that came out in the last couple days. One was by Bixweir and another by Dr. Dave Janda, and I'm sure there's more out there, but they're discussing the FEMA little blurbs that are coming out on the internet on preparedness. And it's very subtle. It's somebody standing in front of a subway, the door's open, she steps on, and before they close, you've all heard the elevator or the subway door, please stand back, you know, and that always comes on. But before please stand back comes on, they're saying, are you prepared for a power outage? Another one says, are you prepared for a hurricane?
Wow.
Are you prepared for a tornado?
Right.
And then after, please stand back, the doors are about to close, which I think is saying a mouthful right there. And then it goes to a different segment that says, do you and your family have a preparedness plan?
Nice.
So when Paul and I started out with this, we said, if we have this water and it has all these energies, and we did some food GANS, I froze segments of meals we had for 21 days. And when we were ready to test it, Paul took it all, blended it up, and started his GANS making process. It would look pretty unappetizing, by the way. But it's
so did he do those with caustic or with muriatic acid? Either one or the other? Caustic to digest it first. And then you took the result, strained it, and put it in a regular GANS making process, or?
No, I took all of the food and ground it up in the blender, and then added the sodium hydroxide, the caustic, and water, and let it digest for about 3 weeks. And then rinsed all the sodium hydroxide out of it, and added a little CO2 and water, and that's what we used. Take the water off the top and use that.
Okay, so you added the CO2 water to it to turn it into a next level of GANS.
Right.
After I saw your station, I went, man, why didn't I think of that? You know, I mean, many of us who are out here making GANS, like I have a whole bunch of really pretty bottles of GANS, and we have one of those big 5-gallon water jugs that comes through a container. So I just took all my bottles of GANS and just set them around our personal water station. And I mean, you know, it's a simple thing, and not everybody's going to want to make them. But like you said, and Lynn, I don't want to interrupt your train of thought, because I think you were going to get into too that we can be nourished by this water. So why don't you go ahead and kind of finish that trail of thought? But this is so exciting, you know, what you've thought through and put together here.
Well, what we did then is we had, and we did a lot of things on this station. There's vitamins, herbs, minerals, a bunch of supplements that we were taking, homeopathic remedies, herb, all kinds of teas, there's roots, there's lots of different things in here, plus the basic CO2, the zinc, and everything else.
Wow.
16 vials. So what we did to test it out is we said, okay, we're going to see if we can go without dish meals for 10 days. Okay. And we did drink, I drank coffee because I know from past experience, if you go cold turkey on being used to a little caffeine, you might have a headache. So I drank a cup of coffee every day, but we drank the water. And the third day in, we were doing okay. We weren't dizzy. We didn't have headaches. Our stomachs weren't growling. We didn't lose energy. We weren't crabby. We had the social conditioning of missing the preparation of food, the smelling, the chewing, all of that part. We're really conditioned, okay? So we get to the third day and our son invites us to dinner and we're kind of like, well, okay, you know, and it was probably a family birthday, so we went. And one of us said, gee, it's kind of nice to eat a dish meal, isn't it? He stops and he says, what are you guys doing? So we said, oh, well, we're doing this. And he shows up the next day and he's just such a neat guy that he can get real officious sometimes. And he sits down and he says, all right, what are you doing? So then we explained it more to him. And now, you know what? He has a plasma energy station at his house.
Nice.
And yeah, all my kids do. And we've encouraged our grandkids to embrace it. And I think we're doing as well as anybody can do with teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So let's make the link here. So you feel like this could be a disaster relief tool also, or an
Absolutely.
emergency tool?
Yes.
You can survive on just this water from the energy station. It's got everything in it you need, and you won't be hungry, no hunger pangs, no lack of energy, no crabbiness, no headaches. You can live on stuff. I lost about 4 pounds immediately, and then I leveled off and didn't lose any more weight after that.
Nice. I want to encourage anyone who's making their own GANs to think of going ahead and setting a station like this up for yourself and your household. And then,
Sure.
Lynn and Paul, why don't you tell us a little bit about your store, that you have these things available that people can actually order them from you? Because I think that's an incredibly valuable. I know I have people message me all the time and say, you know, I don't want to make this. Where can I buy it? And you know, about the plasma tools. And I think this is a really critical, useful tool that should be in every household.
Well, and Carrie, the thing is, if somebody has a plasma energy station, and let's say you are in a disaster situation, if you've got material or paper towels or anything, you can take this water and make some pads for other people. Then they can take it and put it on their water containers. So you've got the ability to help a lot of people with this. And
that is awesome.
Yeah, and we don't send vials out of the country. We do send the plasma energy pads. They're made with, hand me that basket. They're made with all the same water that we have in the vials. And so I just made a whole batch of things for a man going down to Costa Rica. And I said, you know, I just want you to take these things with you. We don't know what's going to happen on our planet. And so I have inflammation, which is, we have the vials and the pads, and that's a basic thing in here is CBD oil, okay?
Nice.
Plus a lot of other that we added. We have detox, which we just came out with, and somebody says, well, I'm going to get my energy station and I'll make my detox. And I said, well, that would be good. We have about 150 different things in here.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
It's not only, you know, things that are used for chelation and that type of thing, but we also wanted something that'll support your body. while you're going through detox, because sometimes it's a rough trip for people. We have some called cold relief. I have one called clean mouth. And this came out after I watched a whole series on oral health, holistic oral health, and the issues that we have from fluoride, from the amalgam with the mercury in it, from root canals. I've had amalgam in my mouth for years. I've got a couple root canals, and I'm looking at it and saying, how are people who don't have the financial resources going to deal with the advice of go have it all removed?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I've been using that, and you know, that's one of my bottles of spray that I keep. And all I do with my different spray bottles, here's clean mouth right here. You can see in the bottom, I have a vial. I think you can see it. Maybe you can hear it. And all I do with these spray bottles is just, oh, I think I'll have some clean mouth. And I have some, and that way it gives me top of the mind awareness. So I don't get at the end of the day and say, you know, I really should have used something. I have
So
one.
again, now, if somebody gets your station and they want just clean mouth, is that in one of those vials? And then they would, no. But they can take water out of the station and assign that to a vial, or that's something additional?
It's additional. What happened is we started developing these things after we did the station.
Right.
And we're going to keep the basic station. We know what it does and everything. And we're just going to
kind of like feeding, nourishment, balancing out the mind, body, spirit, the nervous system, the emotions, so that the body can be in a state of good health. Right.
We developed insomnia with various things that are helpful for that. And I tend to be a real night owl. And so what I do now is I have, let's see, can you hand me that bottle over there on the very end? I have my own little insomnia jar, and it's a plastic jar, and I put a vial in the bottom. I think you can see it. And so all I do is I just add filtered water to the top when it gets down to about halfway, and it's good to go. I never open the vial inside. It's just there to change the water, okay? And we did, this is eye formula. So these are all the things that I can send, or that, you know, we make available outside the country. We did one for parasite cleanse.
Nice.
And this is the pads for the basic energy station. And when I send them, I'll send a pair of pads that's a triple thickness and a single thickness. So there's a pair like that, okay? And they're going to put them on either side of their container. It's got to be clear glass or clear plastic. You don't want to use ceramic. You don't want to use metal. Now, I also send a travel size. And the travel size is a pair of this size. And one's thicker than the other. And this is just if you want to take one to the office or something. Or if you're going to go on a road trip and you don't want to dismantle your main unit. And I only do the travel size with the energy station, and everything else, if I'm doing pads, people will get them. Now, there was a lot of discussion whether pads should be wet or dry. We have always done them dry because of the issue that people were having where they were getting mold sometimes with the liquid, and the dry have worked fine.
So now you soak them with the water and then you just dehydrate them?
Yes, they're saturated.
Just like you did with your gloves or the scarf that you showed.
Right, and I hang them over hangers and let them dry overnight.
Nice.
If I'm in a hurry, I get a fan out and kind of speed things up, but I want them totally, totally dry.
And we can say made with love, right?
You betcha.
Love and intention, because that's so much part of this process.
Yes, and on our website, we have a whole section on intention.
And every time I get in my workroom and I'm working on GANS or making knee rings or whatever I'm doing, I always stop and plant the intention on what I'm doing, that this is going to help the person that I'm making it for. I send it with love. And I think that's an important.
That is really beautiful. Yes, that's beautiful, Paul. And even the cat likes it.
Yeah, she likes to have attention.
Well, I think she likes plasma.
We have another cat who won't show up over here. She had a rough beginning, and her basic expressions when we first got her were to hiss or to run under the bed.
Wow.
And that went on for quite a while. And once we got the plasma water, that's all they get to drink. And it leveled her out.
Nice.
And she purrs now. She may still run. Sometimes she's curious about people, and sometimes maybe she doesn't like their plasma and she leaves the room.
That's a very cool point. Now, I'd like to make a point here that I feel is very important, and I get asked about this all the time. People are always writing me and saying, well, do I drink this stuff? Do I need to drink it? Should I drink it? And I remember the Keshe Foundation came out at one point and said, you don't need to drink this water in order for it to benefit your body. And I think that's another big leap in our understanding to grasp how this science works, that you can just put the bottle, you can put the jar, the containers of GANS water outside of your drinking container, and it will permeate the water with those fields. Do you guys want to talk about that a little bit? Because just I know the way people think in our culture, they're like, oh, well, I need to drink it. But what they need to drink is the water that has been potentized by either the vials or the pads of the GANS water. So why don't you guys go ahead and give us a little.
That's what we're doing right here. This vial is inside is sealed, and it's just exposing itself to this filtered water that has never seen any GANS. And this GANS water in the vial is, for lack of a better word, you could say charging this other filtered water that's in here.
Exactly.
If you put the vial out here on the outside, it's the same thing.
Right.
But it's just easier just to drop the vial into and if you're using clear plastic, you don't have to worry about it breaking.
Right. And it's the same principle that a cup of life would work on, where you've got the walls of the cup and you have the plasma water inside the walls of the cup, or where you would do a breathing tube where you might have a fatter tube of plastic pipe with a smaller tube with plasma water wrapped around it, and you just breathe the air through it. There's many ways that we've been shown to use the plasma water. And so I just want to make really clear, what you are drinking is water that's been potentized by the plasma water that you've made.
Right.
And Dr. Paul, any other thoughts you have on that?
No.
Okay.
There's a couple things I want to share, kind of back to the preparedness thing.
Well, yeah.
And I did come up because what I've seen in the past few weeks is people are interested in the plasma energy station, but then they find the other things that we've done later. And so they're interested in several of those. So what I did is I put together some preparedness kits. And those are going to go up on the website today, so people can order the plasma energy station only, or they can order the plasma energy station and any 8 vials for a certain amount, or 12 vials. And then I'm going to get the people who come back and say, I already have an energy station, but I want 8 of the vials or 12. So I made that version for them, without the station.
And tell us why you call this a preparedness package, and which would have to do with we're able to take care of ourselves if things shut down and we can't access medicines or herbs or our regular avenues of taking care of the body. Then this would give us very specific sharply pointed GANSs for taking care of certain things, right?
The way I look at it, Kerry, is Mr. Keshe talked about this one time. When you start chewing, you start breaking everything down that ultimately is going to make it to the cells. But it's going to go through this long process through our bodies.
And as it goes through
And
that
what,
process, it's getting turned into plasma, right? In the body,
absolutely.
basically.
And that's, so what we've done is we've short-circuited the whole process of the digestion to get straight to the plasma.
Nice.
And so we can utilize that. And the question came up, we did a food GANS for the cats and for a friend's dog,
Oh,
a
nice.
dog GANS, yeah. And then we did, I said, Paul, what happens if your medicine doesn't come? So he did a GANS of his medicine. Now he's never used it, but it's in reserve.
Smart.
If he ever needed it.
Yes.
And so one of the things that we did in thinking of the home in Dominica of Tom Salas' parents,
Right.
or family, it was just beautiful to see. Not a leaf was disturbed, not a flower
Yes.
was gone. The island was 90% destroyed.
Yes.
And it was the plasma energy. And so we have these energy stations across the country. We have them in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Europe, Scandinavia. And I said, what if we could join all the little plasma energies that left our house?
Yes.
Of them. So I put together something called Our Intention and Invitation. All plasma energy that originated from Lynn and Paul's efforts joins every other bit of plasma energy that originated from Lynn and Paul's efforts, wherever that plasma energy is in the world, on the land, in the waters of the rivers, the lakes and oceans, in the air, and in the clouds above. All that plasma energy brings Lynn and Paul's intention everywhere, on, above, around, and below the surface of planet Earth, that all living beings are filled with love, peace, joy, freedom, and well-being, with the ethics and morality to support the love, peace, joy, freedom, and well-being of all living things on planet Earth, including the living being, our home, planet Earth. All of like intentions are invited to join. We did this after...
So beautiful.
Thank you. You know, we did this after sitting here going, the news can kind of get you on a little bit of a downer, and what are two people to do, you know?
Right.
And so I said, you know what? Let's think about this. We've sent all of this away from here with certain intention. Maybe two people, and all the people of like intention can join in, and maybe a handful can do a whole lot.
Yes.
That was my whole idea.
And we are. And, you know, letting all the people know who you share plasma stations with know that they are connected to a bigger network who are holding goodness, you know, the light of goodness and the plasma field for the planet. I remember when I first went on tour teaching workshops a couple of years ago, and a 90-day tour in the US, and then I was invited over to South Africa and Swaziland as well, which was an amazing thing to get to do that and be with these people all over the world. And Mrs. Keshe ended up messaging me, Caroline, and she said, please, Mr. Keshe says, tell everyone to have plasma devices in their homes, because as they do, it sends it out, you know, it sends out a greater field, and then all these greater fields can be connected with each other. And so you're very right on with that.
One of the things I did, Kerry, is I got some little travel jars about this size. They're little clear plastic jars that you would take, you know, on the airlines or to get through the airlines, whatever. And I filled them with our station water. And I just went all around the property and did a perimeter of them around the property.
Beautiful.
So I have a little, and we know the energy fields I did a dowsing, and Paul made these dowsing rods, and the energy fields, she likes to go after the rods. The energy fields, when I tested them, I did first on the vials, and the dowsing rods, it was 33 feet. So then I set up the larger set of pads that had been treated with the plasma energy station water, 33 feet. Then I did the little travel size, 33 feet. And it really startled me because I was kitchen conditioned to a half a teaspoon is a lot less than a cup, and that's less than a gallon. But it didn't matter what the size was. Well, I did this almost 2 years ago, and one of the people that got one of our stations sent me an email a couple months ago and said her chiropractor had tested the energy fields on some station water she took to him.
Right.
36 feet.
That's really cool. I know Jackie measures with, Jackie Fig measures with dowsing rods like that a lot. And they have really great fields around their house from the multiplication that they're doing with the GANSs.
Those dowsing rods are a great tool to have, a good way to measure it, and you can get a relatively good idea using the dowsing rods as to the strength of it. And also when you're working with combinations of GANSs and you're trying to get the proper levels for treating a certain condition and a certain, not for treating, for supporting a certain position in a certain person, people vary. It's not the same for everybody. Then you can ask these dowsing rods, is for Joe Smith, is 40% CO2 water in this combination the right amount? And you'll get a yes or a no. You can say, is copper oxide
Nice.
25% the proper amount? You'll get a yes or no, and you can keep varying it until you get a yes, and you can get your direct, exact proportions of what to put in your formulation to treat a specific or to support a specific
Condition, right?
condition. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would guess that, you know, regular old muscle testing through
You can do the
kinesiology
same
would
thing
probably
with that.
work as well.
Sure.
Well,
You can do the same with this.
yes.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys would like to share today? I think we've kind of used up a good hour here, and fantastic information. Tell us the name of your website again, and we'll put it under the video.
Okay, it's plasmaenergysolution.com.
Perfect. And now you have the plasma stations, you have the extra vials for specific conditions. Anything else that you have that we should know about? I know you make the eye drops also with the olive oil in them that helped you with your cataracts.
There's a whole list of
Oh,
what
wow. That's a
Yeah.
big list.
And if you go to the shop page, it'll take them one by one. You can click on them, and then you'll get a blurb on a lot of the ingredients. Some of them may be a little proprietary,
Uh-huh.
but
That's okay.
yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
And
And people need to join your website and to be a member for $1, just for the sake of keeping it kind of a private sharing information, so we're not out in the field of whatever. It's just a good protection.
not in the practice field.
Yes.
No, it's a private membership association, Plasma Energy Solution, private membership association, and you know it's $1 to join.
Yeah.
And
I
what
think
do you?
that's good, and I think it's a good way to do these things.
Yeah, and all you're going to agree to is to use, enjoy, and if you're so inclined, to share the plasma energy.
Yes, nice.
Yeah.
So, and I know we're setting it up. You have a little affiliate thing that is going to help benefit my work as well. So we're going to give people a little coupon if someone hears about it through this video, and they
Kerry, and their coupon word is Kerry.
Okay, CARY, real simple.
And what that means is they're going to get 15% off every time they order something and think to use the coupon.
Perfect.
Because it doesn't have a time constraint on it.
That's exciting. So they get 15% off too. That's very cool.
Right.
And
right.
a little bit will go to help support my channel, which I'm so grateful for, because I do this for no pay and I don't put ads on, and we're really here to serve, bringing into consciousness a better world.
Exactly.
Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Well, thank you.
Yes?
Thank you, Kerry.
You are so welcome. And it's really such a privilege to talk to you both. I just greatly honor that you have had the wisdom and the intelligence to step into these teachings, to figure out how to apply them in your own lives, and then to figure out a way to go on and share that with others. I think this is the work we need to be doing in this day and time of great change on planet Earth. And we are here to free humanity, to live in beauty, joy, love, and peace with abundance for all. We have a little ways to go to get this done. And I think everyone who steps up to the plate and takes action like you guys have just deserves, you get really the honor of my heart. And I'm so grateful you're doing what you're doing.
Well, we're grateful to you, and thank you very much.
And thank you for spreading the word as you have and are.
You are so welcome. So I'm going to remind everyone, breathe, smile, and love. And as we so do, we change ourselves to change the world, and use plasma. So important. Okay, bye-bye, you guys. Ciao, everyone. Catch up soon.
Century Superhuman, and I know that the answers are inside. Yeah, I am a 21st century superhuman. Now is the time. Come on everyone, let's celebrate. We are the children of the sun. I can see you when I look into your eyes. We are the same, and we are light, yeah, we are one. Here now, hear my ancient prayer and sing along. We are awakening as one. And we can make a difference, yeah, we can be the change it takes to make the world a lot more fun. If you're feeling kinda down and you need some inspiration to remember who you are, oh, now, child, please don't frown. You can choose a new vibration, and these words can take you far. I am a 21st century superhuman, and I know that the answers are inside. I am the 21st century superhuman. Now is the time. you're feeling kinda down and you need some inspiration to remember who you are. Whoa, now, child, please don't frown. You can choose a new vibration, and these words can take you far. I am a 21st century superhuman, and I know that the answers are inside. I am 21st century superhuman. Now, now, now is the time. I am a 21st century superhuman, and I know that the answers are inside. I am a 21st century superhuman. Now, now, now is the time. Now, now, now is the time. Now, now, now is the time. Now, now, now is the